Today I want to cover what I call the 3 lines of defense. So what are these 3 lines of defense? They are the 3 most fundamental and I think basic and important ways to protect yourself when you're doing business. The first one, contracts. Always, if you're paying someone, exchanging services, if there's anything of value exchanging hands, have a written contract in place. There's a few reasons for why that's important. One of them, when I say something and I think it means X, Y, and Z, you might actually hear A, B, C, not X, Y, and Z. And a contract is where you're going to clearly outline all of the things that you're agreeing to that you said verbally to each other or via email or whatever the case. That agreement, it's where you have the opportunity to make it super clear so that there's no disagreements later, or if there are, you go back to that contract to dispel that disagreement and say, no, this is what we agreed upon. So that's one great reason. Another is that it is going to be the legally binding parameters of that relationship that you have when you're exchanging anything of value. It's the opportunity you have to make sure that you set the proper boundaries and put the proper protections in place so that no one can take advantage of you in a professional and legal capacity at some later date. So beyond those 2 reasons, which are super important, a contract is also something that if you ever do get in the unfortunate situation of getting sued and you go to court, you can admit that contract and say, here's the evidence of our agreement, and that's why this lawsuit is frivolous and you need to dismiss it and give me all my attorney's fees and I win. So very important to have a contract. That's the first line of defense. Now, people are really good at saying, no, I think you breached the contract even though you said I breached the contract, and so I'm going to ignore this contract altogether and I'm going to sue you anyway. So they get over that first line of defense, right? In that unfortunate situation, what's next? What's that second line of defense? Number 2, insurance. Make sure that you have a good insurance policy that covers whatever type of work you're doing. Now, when I say make sure it covers what you're doing, you can't just go get a cookie cutter insurance policy. Talk to your insurance broker agent about what you do, get in the weeds, tell them about everything, the stuff that you've had nightmares at night and you wake up and you're like, I'm going to get sued for that. Tell them that so that they can make sure your policy covers it so that when you do get sued for it, or if hopefully that's not a win, that it doesn't actually make you lose your business. So, axe throwing business, that's going to be a different type of liability from if you're doing creative design services. Not to say that one's less risky than the other. You got infringement things with design, you got people chopping fingers off with axe throwing. Talk to someone, make sure you get that right policy in place. Now, of course, insurance companies love to collect those premiums and stack those dollars and then not pay out when you actually do get sued. So if that happens, if you're in that unfortunate situation and you did so much to get that policy right and dialed in and covered, and that company is still going to be evil insurance company and not pay out, well, that person got over that second line of defense. That third and likely final line of defense that is going to be the most impervious, it's not totally impervious, but the most foolproof, is your business entity. You're going to want to have your LLC or your corporation or your benefit corporation, or if you're a professional corporation in place to protect you from your personal assets from being liable for what happened with the business. So that third line of defense, if you're observing your corporate formalities, you're making sure you file your taxes and do all the things that you need to do to maintain your company, that LLC or corporation, that liability, it's going to go over the contract, the insurance, but it's going to hit that third line of defense, that company, and prevent you from being personally liable. So, 3 lines of defense, the 3 things that you need to get set up as soon as you can. And of course, 2 out of 3 is better than none. 1 out of 3 is better than none. But get them set up as soon as you can. Contracts in place, anyone and anything exchanging hands, money, services, get a contract in place. Information, NDAs, get a contract in place. Employees, get your employment contracts and employee handbook in place. 2, insurance, get a coverage that is going to actually pay out and cover you for the things you do in your business. 3, your business entity. Get that in place, get that filed, get it all tightened up, get everything done internally and all your filings and taxes done to maintain that personal liability protection. So, hopefully this is helpful. 3 lines of defense, foundational way to protect yourself when doing business. Tune in for more details on all these topics and what LLCs and corporations are, the tax treatments, how to invest. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.